Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Wednesday. It's time to hunt for YouTube. It's the platform that everybody loves to hate.
Am I doing it right?
The energy is low today, folks, and we've got some unsettling news about YouTube blatantly censoring speech, particularly when it comes to everyone's favorite oppressive regime, China.
Turns out that YouTube has been secretly deleting comments that have been critical of the Chinese Communist Party, which has ruled over China since taking power in the late 1940s. Oh no.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what happened, then talk about how this could affect our precious video games, because actually there really are some pretty serious implications here. We acknowledge video games not as important as life-altering politics, but still, people outside of China may be impacted by this.
So first up, this story comes from The Verge, who discovered via human rights activist Jennifer Zhang that YouTube has been deleting certain Chinese language phrases that criticize the Chinese Communist Party, and they've been doing it for about 6 months now.
Listen, somebody's gotta protect the Chinese Communist Party. We gotta have them out there in the front lines.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you for sticking up for the underdog.
So specifically comments on videos or live streams that contain the words communist bandit or 50-cent party. I assume those have
Probably a little bit more play in China.
Those have been automatically deleted in seconds. Interestingly, only the Chinese phrases have been deleted. Their English language translations and Romanized pinyin equivalents are not.
The phrase communist bandit actually goes back all the way. It's like an old nationalist phrase, and it kind of goes back to the communist revolution. The phrase 50-cent party is a little more modern. It's a reference to the claim that some pro-China commenters are paid 50 Chinese cents for every post where they defend China online.
Are they hiring? Yeah, there's not a lot of evidence that those commenters are actually getting paid, but research has shown that the Chinese government fakes nearly 450 million comments on social media every year. So that's led to the phrase 50-cent army.
All right, so that makes sense.
It's not like outside of their...
Right.
The Verge says that the phrases seem to have been added to YouTube's comment filters, which automatically remove spam and offensive text. Obviously, individual creators have always been able to add their own filters or blocked words for their personal videos, but this stuff is YouTube-wide.
And The Verge found complaints on YouTube's official help pages going all the way back to October, hence the kind of 6-month range. So it's been going on for a while. They got in touch with YouTube. A representative said, oh no, it's all just a big mistake, but they didn't explain how it happened in the first place. They told The Verge, upon review by our teams, we have confirmed this was an error in our enforcement systems and we are working to fix it as quickly as possible.
We just accidentally banned 2 phrases that are specifically,
Hyper-specific.
We just accidentally stood up for an authoritarian regime.
Yeah, but no, it was the algorithm.
Right.
Not us. They also said this was not the result of any change in its moderation policy. Yeah, okay. At least not the policy that we make public.
Not the one we're going to tell you about.
And here's another interesting point. YouTube is mostly blocked in China, so why would they be doing this? Why? Why would they be protecting China in the West?
It's no secret that Google and, the NBA and Blizzard and a lot of other people.
Disney.
But it's definitely no secret that Google, YouTube's parent company, has been repeatedly accused of trying to appease China, trying to break into that market. They even created a prototype search engine known as Project Dragonfly that went along with Chinese state censorship. And everyone was like, WTF, Google? And then they said they killed the project. I guess they said it was just a mistake too.
We accidentally developed this thing.
A whole separate search engine that filters out all criticism of the Chinese communists.
Yeah, my bad.
We've all made that mistake.
That's like when Google accidentally put that microphone in the Google Nest thing or whatever. Oh, it has a microphone. Oh, shoot.
That's right.
And we have thousands of people transcribing everything the microphones pick up. Oh.
Whoopsie.
Oh, is that what that... Oh my God, sorry, that was my nephew. He was an intern. I just don't know. I'm at a loss for what to do with him. He's a great kid though.
So obviously as gamers, we don't care about human rights and politics, right? That's like the main thing about us, actually. Anyway, how does this relate to video games? Because that's the only thing all of us care about.
Is China making The Last of Us gay?
Boys, there are 2 ways, really. Naturally, YouTube, huge platform for gaming and has been for a long long time. If you're watching us here at Inside Gaming, like, comment, and subscribe. We really need those. But yeah, you probably already know how prevalent gameplay clips and Let's Plays are on YouTube.
Wait, people watch people play video games?
I search for tips all the time on YouTube. Like, how do I get past X?
Apparently there's some old glitch in Link's Awakening where, like, if you don't buy the bow before you trade your shovel, buy the shovel again, and then you don't have enough room in your inventory, you need your magic powder to beat the first nightmare.
Right, yeah, I understand.
But I found a speedrun strat
Okay, got it.
to get around it.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I was like, I'm not playing this
There you go.
game
Really?
again. Thank you, YouTube.
I hate having to look up tutorials anytime I need to do something with redstone in Minecraft, because it's like, wow. Okay, welcome back to my gaming channel.
More recently, it has become the second most popular video game streaming service after Twitch. What was number 2 before YouTube?
I think it's
Facebook
been number 2
gaming.
for a while.
Last month, people watched 461 million hours of streaming gameplay on YouTube Gaming. That's up 65% from last year. I mean, if I'm watching gaming stuff, it's always YouTube. I don't watch a lot of Twitch. I'm all in on YouTube, baby.
I'm on 9gag. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of that is because of the ongoing pandemic. It's been well documented that people are both watching and playing more video games. Still, the point remains. YouTube is now a big player in the streaming space.
Yeah, and something that's ultimately necessary for a big player to attract big names and frankly stay entertaining with something as candid as live stream is the ability for those streamers to, I don't know, be genuine, be themselves, make the thumbnails and the titles they want without fear of the big bad platform putting a hammer on them for saying something negative about an entire country. So if this video gets taken down, you know why.
Avenge me.
We're martyrs.
Freedom!
Yeah, if YouTube is voluntarily censoring anti-Chinese comments, that's a nasty precedent. It means that for months now, YouTube has either been secretly cooperating with the Chinese government, or worse, they're doing it on their own. It's called self-censorship, which could very easily end up including bans on smack-talking any companies that YouTube might have big brand deals with. The tendrils could extend.
Yeah, YouTube doing it further encourages other people to do it too. YouTube is Google, that's a big powerhouse, and they're trendsetters, so if they do it, guess what? Probably everyone else is too. And we've already seen some smaller companies taking really drastic measures so as to not offend China, God forbid. The NBA did it. They don't want to piss off its massive market. And video game companies definitely don't want to do it.
Like what? The person who just read that line?
That's me.
We'll get into that in a moment, but first, we've got a terrible ad segue on our hands, by the way. But, you know, hair loss, that's a big problem too, right? Right behind censorship.
Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring today's episode.
Guys, let's talk about Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? The best way to prevent this hair loss, do something about it while you still have hair left. Do it now. Now, while you still got some hair. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription. Now, guess what? Thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online, get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. They make it easy. They deliver your medication every 3 months so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines, awkward doctor visits. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to have that weird conversation. Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, but never for this price. So do something now. What can you do? Well, you got to go to keeps.com/inside to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/inside. Seriously, do something now. You're all young kids. You don't want to be blowing your hair right in your 20s or your 30s. You still got a date. You got to get out there. You don't want to do that with no hair. It's no good. You want to have a full head of hair. That's where Keeps comes in. First month of treatment for free. Keeps.com/inside. That's KEEPS.com/inside. And thank you for Keeps. So what are some examples of video game companies pussyfooting around the big CH? That's my new slang for China. Most famously, last year, Blizzard suspended a Hearthstone player, Blitzchung, respect, from competitive play after he voiced support for Hong Kong protesters. They punished the 2 shoutcasters who were present at the time, too. It was a whole...
Despite their hiding.
Yeah.
It was Hearthstone's Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, that caused a massive public outcry against Blizzard, who seemed to be siding with an authoritarian government over free speech. They later apologized, kind of, but they kept the ban in place, so it was like...
Well, they cried.
Yeah, they cried.
Yeah, but then they didn't do anything. They didn't change any of their actions. They just got up there and cried.
Well, and they put... Stop it! And they put out the Diablo 4 trailer.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, Blizzard has a lot of business dealings with China. Sorry, the big CH, and clearly didn't want to offend government, thus being cut off from its massive base of players.
Yeah, and this is industry-wide, if we're being honest. Chinese investors quietly fund a lot of both the games industry and the film industry, like a lot.
Yeah.
Tencent, the world's largest video game company, who are based in China, owns both PUBG and Fortnite. They own Riot too, right?
Yes, they do own Riot. I will also say they are incorporated in the Cayman Islands, so please don't trip. They're not a Chinese company.
That's cool then, that's fine.
Yeah.
Our
they're-
Caribbean brothers.
So yeah, that competition you thought existed really just helps one giant Chinese company.
And Tencent aside, there are loads of downsides to China's control on the entertainment industry. Oh, there was that Chinese poster for The Force
Oh,
Awakens
right.
where Finn was really tiny. Ugh.
I wonder why. What's different about that character than the rest of them?
So pure, young Brown.
But yeah, speaking of video games, that also has something to do with Diablo Immortal, the mobile Diablo game that upset a lot of Western audiences because it sucked. And it also removed the only black class, witch doctors. I wonder why.
We don't know for sure that Diablo Immortal doesn't have any black playable characters because of China's apparent racism, but being that it's a mobile game, you can bet the majority of players will be in China, not the US, and that influences what characters do and don't make the cut.
It's also half being developed in China. It's a collab between Blizzard and the Chinese developer NetEase. Damn, too bad they just canceled BlizzCon for this year. We get some more awesome protests.
Yeah, it's a sad reminder that businesses will ultimately side with money over people every time.
Always.
And China, with a population of around 1.5 billion, has the most people and thus the most money to be made.
Well, that's kind of siding with people, though, isn't it?
It's the People's
It's right.
Republic.
That's
of China.
right. They're siding with the people's money. China even tried to put the clamps down on Animal Crossing in the country after it was used by Hong Kong residents to stage protests against the regime. Oh, not Animal Crossing, China. Come on.
So if we get why big companies like Google are bowing to China, why is China asking for all of this? Well, because the communist regime is extremely sensitive to any criticism. Images of Winnie the Pooh are banned over there because some have used the cartoon character to mock Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
I'm glad we're getting back to basics. Us against the communists. This
Hell
is
yeah.
really taking me back to the 80s.
The Reds.
Yeah, they've also been heavily criticized in the West for a lot of reasons. Not acting fast enough to stop the coronavirus. They have a terrible human rights record from Tibet, Tiananmen Square. It currently detains millions of Uyghur Muslims. Extremely sketchy, not good at all.
No, it's horrible.
It's pretty bad.
Terrific.
Tencent, for example, fully owns Riot Games, the maker of League of Legends. They also own 40% of Epic Games and thus Fortnite. They also own a piece of Bluehole and stakes in Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft, and that is just scratching the surface. It goes very deep.
They also are the company that is typically the go-between for gaming companies like Nintendo who want to enter China.
Meanwhile, they're expanding one of their existing studios, which focuses on mobile games, into the US to develop AAA games. And if you're that big of a company in China, you're in league with the government. That's not conspiratorial. It's just the facts. That is the price of entry.
So yeah, we have one of the biggest video platforms in the US doing censorship for China, which is increasingly gobbling up more and more of the video game industry. What could go wrong? What could be bad about this? I know sometimes free speech can be used to justify a lot of shitty behavior online, but in this case, it really does seem problematic.
Could this lead to automatic censoring of chats in your favorite game, or if you want to say something to your favorite streamer?
It might not be that far off, because it feels like YouTube and parent company Google, or Alphabet, for whatever reason, have taken it upon themselves to protect the Chinese Communist Party. Not just over there, but over here too. So brave.
Get me Rocky on the phone.
Thank God that we have a plucky little startup like Google.
Yo, Adrian, I heard somebody's talking about Taiwan.
Tencent is starting a AAA studio in North America. At least that's as much as I was able to get from the URL, which now goes nowhere. The article was removed relatively quickly after posting, and the only evidence I found at first of this supposed studio was a tweet from industry veteran designer Scott Warner. Unlike the .biz article, Scott's tweet remains up.